Hey there, it's Cassie Anderson again. Today is July 31st, 2017. That means I just completed 7 months of being free of topical steroids. And so I thought I'd give you an update. I gotta tell you, like the days seem really long, but it seems like I just did a video yesterday, so time must be flying still. So a few things right now. I'm nervous, I'm starting to itch a little bit. A few things I think that I'm just taking notes of that have been different is, I think there's some things that, that can trigger, like your skin to flare or to be uncomfortable. And you just learn how to say no and to avoid situations a lot of times. And, I think this month has been really kind of fun to some degree because I'm starting to realize that I can say yes to things that I wasn't able to before. So I kind of had some things on default for a while, and it's just nice. So for example, before it seemed like even the sunlight coming through the windows was really would kind of set off a temperature change or whatever it might be on my skin and make me go running. So I had a friend come over and she sewed curtains for me to make sure everything was like blackened in our house. And it seems like more and more I'm opening up the curtains and I'm doing just fine. So that sounds really bad for people who think that I have to be a homebody or something, or maybe that you have to be. I've actually gotten out of the house quite a bit more. Before I would just kind of leave to do little errands or grocery shopping if I needed to, and I would pretty much stay inside the rest of the time just because I like a controlled environment while I'm healing, just so that it's more predictable, and I'm able to do that, so that's why I'm choosing to do that, but your story might be different. But anyways, it's summertime, so my kids are home and they want to do more than just sit at the house. I want them to be able to do more than just sit at the house. So there are times when I'll be able to take them, I'll just park at a park and they can play, and I'll sit in the air conditioning and shade in the van. Actually, just a couple days ago, I got out and I was playing with Clay a little bit and running around with him on the playground. It was a park that was in kind of a shaded area, and I felt comfortable doing that, and it went okay. So yeah, I would say there's more yeses happening, a little bit more freedom taking place. The last week, we're starting week 2 of swim lessons at the local pool, and I was really grateful that my parents gifted us that. But a part of me was like, how are my kids gonna get there, like, to be supervised the whole time, like, because I hadn't been outside for so long. And so anyways, I just thought, I'm gonna try it, see what happens, and if something flares, then that's exactly why I'm home right now going through TSW. If something happens, I still have time to recover, that kind of justification. So yeah, I was there all last week, Monday through Thursday, outside every day, supervising. Their lessons are near almost an hour. And that felt good, just to be outside and to get more fresh air and to be a part of something. And, yeah, just really good. So I don't know where you guys are at your, 7-month, 8-month journey. But I'm feeling good. And, so anyways, here's what else is going on. Oh, and I did jump in the pool. Okay. So the dermatologist a couple months ago, that was at my 6-month checkup, she's like, you might want to jump into a swimming pool at some point, swim with your kids, because the chlorine will help with the bacteria and help make it so that you don't have to fight skin infections. And I was a little skeptical about that because I've been so chemically sensitive in the past that I'm like, are you sure? Because I just don't see that going well. And I thought, okay, well, I had tried the bleach baths for a full bath, just a 1/4 cup bleach that the doctor recommended when, just whenever. She wanted me to kind of do a maintenance bath just to make sure I was keeping infection away, and I kind of did that sparingly. So anyways, I thought, okay, well, I've been in a pool before, not during TSW, but maybe I'll give it a try. And we actually had a backyard pool. It had some chlorine in it. I jumped in it. It was a little more on the higher side, the chlorine content, but and I did find while I was in there, I was only in there 10 minutes, but at the end of the day, I had some really red and sore skin, and I was like, why did I do that? But then fast forward a week later, and the kids were at the YMCA, and usually I have help lined up to be in the pool with them, but that particular day, I mentioned it before I had help, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go figure this out as we're doing it, but I'll just sit on the sidelines, and if they need me to get in, at least I know the doctor said it's an okay thing. So I actually have some pictures on my blog of being in the pool with them, but so they started off in the shallow end. Everything was fine sitting on the sidelines. I had my ice packs on because it was just a hot and humid room that the indoor pool was in. I just wanted to make sure I was keeping my skin cool. But then they wanted to go in the deep end, so I'm like, all right, here it goes. And I only got in like waist deep. I didn't even want to touch my hands because my hands were super sore driving there. But I had to get my hands wet a few times, dipping in to grab my youngest and pull him to the side or something. And my hands felt really good at the end, and my skin felt really good, and I went to bed feeling good, and it was really crazy. And I was in the pool for about an hour. So anyways, I think that if the chlorine content is right, it can be helpful. So I have yet to try it again, but it was a success the first time, or at the community pool anyways. So really excited about that. Okay, so something else that full disclosure, I gained some weight. So I've been at this, since January 1st. And I would say between 15 and 20 pounds. And it's not that I'm eating any differently. I'm still eating pretty clean. I think it's the lack of activity that my muscles have just turned to mush, and it's just this downward spiral. So anyways, the last couple days I've been out walking, and so what I do, and it's really hot summer here, 70 to 80 degrees right now, and it's humid. I live in the Midwest, and I know it's only going to get worse. It's going to be in the 90s and the hundreds before long, probably come next month. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, I'm just taking a couple laps around the block, and then we have kind of another path that kind of leads a long way around. And I did okay. My skin did fine. I do think that it sparked a little bit more red because my face was pretty white until I did that. And then yesterday when I walked again, I had some of that sappy stuff kind of coming through a couple of slits under my eyes. So it did agitate my face a little bit. I think that's, I would have expected something like that. But the rest of my body did all right. And I even, worked up a sweat a little bit, and my calves hurt too, just because I hadn't been out too much. So anyways, baby steps, this is for a season, and I'm just going to keep experimenting, keep trying things, and I need to be active. I'm like craving to like do more than just be in the house, and I'm keeping plenty busy with housework and stuff. I usually avoid a lot of wet chores, like anything with dishes or like dusting or anything where my hands get wet. But so that's why I have lovely friends and family that come over and help me do those kind of chores. Or I try to supervise the boys to do them. Okay, so this last month, I think the last video I was not really feeling very well, and it's been going on a whole month. So what triggered it was I mentioned a couple stressful days, and the first one was just a parenting stressed out moment where I found one more wrapper behind the couch or something from a snack, and we have an old house and that draws in bugs, so I got a little upset at that, and I think that kind of triggered a headache, which triggered some TMJ, something like it kind of triggered a reaction with that, and that's been going on the whole month. And then the next day, so that was the first thing that I thought, okay, it kind of sparked a headache, and the next day, my youngest son and I, we were trying to make a chiropractor appointment, and the traffic on the interstate was just packed, and I was going to be late, and I was trying to find another route, and I got lost and turned around, and so I was kind of in a panic about that. And anyway, so I think just the stress of like back to back something, just, I don't know. But anyways, so the TMJ, and I don't know if that's associated or not. I'm just telling you what I think it is. Anyways, whatever joint is going on here that's swollen, it's pressing on my ear. So I really haven't been able to hear completely out of this ear all month. It kind of turns on and off. And it's really difficult because I still take baths in the morning, and the water will get in my ear canals, and that one really hurts. So what I did for that was I finally got those silicone earplugs for like swimmers, and that's really been helping the last couple days. So at least I don't have that extra aggravation going on with the bath time. The other thing that's going on is that my knee has bursitis. I don't know if you can see. That's a big honkin' bursa right there.
Right here.
Right there. That's a giant something. I don't know if you can see comparatively. It's so big. This one is just rock solid, and then this one's really squishy. Okay, well anyways, I don't even know what caused that, because usually it's like some traumatic injury or something, and I think it's just the stress of TSW, I think both up here and on my knee. Just like the ulcer that I had the first couple months. My body doesn't normally do this kind of stuff. So I'm blaming it on TSW. I would say that the worst parts of my skin right now are my hands and wrists. They're just really dry and really big grooves, really scaly and itchy. They're just always the most irritated, and so if they do get itchy, I try to put ice on them still, but I really don't. That's the other thing, is I haven't really had to use ice very much lately. I feel like everything's still, it's pretty regulated for the most part. And then the only other thing is my ankles are kind of the same texture as my wrists. So those two are kind of the hardest. That's why it's so hard for me to get out and walk, but I push myself to do it, you know, because my sock and shoe or whatever rub up against my ankle, and whole nother ball game. But I gotta do it, you know, and so I'm just gonna keep pushing myself and see what happens. Okay, so last video, I believe I announced I was Vaseline free. This one, I just want to say I'm back using it again, but not as much. I was trying to just use the Vanicream cream, the Free and Clear cream, and that works for the most part. And I think that's what really helps regulate my body temperature, because I think the Vaseline really like holds in and makes me burn or itch at some degree at some point. But I think the Vanicream is such a light coating. I think it does the trick where I'm able to move still. I'm flexible enough. I'll get around to explaining that a little bit more. It allows a little bit of moisture, and it allows me to feel like I have a little bit normal skin. However, the Vaseline I have been putting on my hands and wrists and my ankles. And occasionally I put it right in here too, if I have a hard time bending my elbows. So the rest of my skin feels like flexible and pliable or whatever, but but once it dries after a couple hours, if I just have the cream on my hands, like I can't move my hands. It's like they just freeze in one position. So if I put a little bit of Vaseline on, it kind of locks that moisture in, but gives me more flexibility. Okay, and then I think that is about, some little successes that I've had are that when I take a bath, I'm not shedding as much hair, so I do have more baths now where I haven't lost any strands of hair, and that is a huge success, because there was a time where I lost like handfuls in a bathtub, and it wasn't like every bath. It wasn't for a terribly long time, but that was really scary to me, because I'm like, how long is this going to last for? And then it just really kind of dwindled down to just a few strands, but consistently every bath. And that's not counting before and after the bath, any combing or brushing, because that I would still probably, I would say a handful or two of hair every day. But I'm super excited that I can take a bath now and might just be a strand.
Love you, Mom.
Hi, love you. It might be a strand, it might not be any. And I'm super excited about that because that just shows that it's, it's slowing down and progressing. My body's healing and it's holding on to that. So as far as the Vanicream goes and the Vaseline, I probably just put that on once after my bath, and I'm usually good for most of the day, if not the whole day, even going to bed. There might be one other time that I might apply some more, just depending on how my day is going and what's going on. But I think that's a huge success too, that I don't have to constantly be applying stuff all day long. And then I would say sleeping is pretty good. There are times when I just kind of lie awake because my brain is on, but I don't feel tired. I don't wake up tired. Usually I'm still pretty energetic. So, but my nights are fine. It's really rare that I have itching episodes at night anymore. I still have them. They're just a lot fewer and farther between. I just know, I feel like I have a routine down and my body's just, it knows what to do. But at the same rate, I know that every day I'm probably experimenting one way or another with something. But at the end of the day, turning off the lights, I always say, one day closer to better. So anyways, that's my 7-month update. And if you have any other comments or questions or suggestions, please put them below, and I'd love to connect with you. But yeah, all right, well, we'll see you next month. Bye.